The Millionaire was ruined until the delivery girl arrived and did what no programmer could. Lucy Anderson walked into the enormous building with a pizza box in her hands, thinking it would be another quick delivery to collect a tip and leave. But from the first step, she noticed something wasn't right. The office was in total chaos. Men and women in suits were running in every direction. Phones rang non-stop. The giant screens on the walls flickered with red code and error messages as if the entire system were exploding from the inside. The tension was so thick you could feel it on your skin. In the midst of the disaster, a tall man in a black suit was yelling desperate orders that no one seemed able to follow. That was Ryan Belmont, CEO of Innovatech, one of the most important tech companies in the country. His hands trembled as he shouted that they were losing everything. "If we don't fix this in minutes, billions of dollars are going down the drain," he exclaimed, his voice on the verge of breaking. Confused, Lucy lifted the pizza box as if nothing was wrong and said in her normal tone, "Hi, I have your delivery." No one turned. No one heard her. She moved through the employees until she was in front of Ryan, who was so agitated he could barely breathe. She spoke louder. "Sir, your pizza is here." Ryan looked at her with a red face, sweat on his forehead, and eyes full of desperation. "Can't you see what's happening? I'm about to lose my entire company and you're here talking to me about pizza." Lucy raised an eyebrow. "Well, explain to me what's happening." "An attack." He slammed the table so hard a cup fell to the floor. "We're being hacked. They're destroying our systems and no one can stop them." Lucy took a deep breath and answered without hesitation. "I can help." The entire office burst into laughter instantly. One of the programmers commented mockingly, "Oh yeah, sure. The pizza delivery girl is going to save Innovatech. Perfect." Another added, laughing, "Bring dessert too, maybe that will fix our servers." But Lucy didn't back down. She stood in front of Ryan and said, "Give me a chance." Ryan was desperate. His team was typing non-stop, but every screen showed more failures, more corrupted files, more intrusions. Defeat was in his eyes. He looked at Lucy for a moment that seemed eternal, and finally gave in. "If you can fix this, I'll give you $200,000. Lucy smiled, placed the pizza box on a free table, and said, "That would change my life, sir." Without another word, she pulled up a chair, gently pushed a programmer aside to take his place, and began typing without wasting a second. The office, which had been mocking her minutes before, now watched her in complete silence. Her fingers flew across the keyboard with an agility none of them had ever seen before. "I need another computer," she ordered. An employee ran to get one. Lucy started working with both at the same time, jumping between windows, copying lines, blocking access, creating filters. Sweat dripped down her forehead as the alarms continued to sound. "Close that window," she shouted to one of the programmers. "Not that one, the other one, quick!" But when he closed it, the screen turned red again. Ryan put his head in his hands. "It's over. We've lost." "Shut up and let me work," Lucy snapped without taking her eyes off the screens. Things got worse. Reports indicated frozen accounts, private data being copied, forced access to key servers. Some employees were on the verge of tears. Suddenly, one of the screens returned to normal. Then another and another. Someone whispered, She's doing it." But the calm was short-lived. A new attack came in with more force, as if the hackers had been waiting for that moment. Lucy's eyes widened. "It can't be." The office lights flickered. The main server began to emit a loud, constant beep. Ryan collapsed into a chair, defeated. "This is the end." Lucy didn't stop. Her fingers moved so fast it looked like she was playing an instrument in the middle of a war. She was eliminating processes, closing access points, restarting defenses, raising barriers, and counterattacking, all at the same time. Suddenly, one screen turned green, then another and another, until the entire system showed a full recovery. Exhausted, Lucy let go of the keyboard, her hands trembling. "Done," she whispered. The office erupted in applause and shouts of relief. Many approached her impressed. Ryan looked at her as if he had witnessed a miracle. He took out a leather folder, opened it, and held out a check. $200,000. You just saved billions. Lucy took the check and smiled wearily. "Mr. Belmont, this is definitely the most expensive tip I've ever received." She adjusted her backpack, turned around, and started walking towards the exit. No one said anything. Ryan followed her with his gaze stunned, unable to believe that this young woman in jeans and a hoodie had just done something his entire company couldn't. What none of them knew was that this night wasn't the end. It was going to be the beginning of something much bigger. 3 weeks after the incident, Lucy was standing in front of a small storefront in New York City. It was old with peeling paint and dusty windows, but to her it was perfect. She had used part of the check to open her dream, a coffee and pastry shop. With hard work, she renovated everything, painted the walls in light colors, set up rustic wooden tables, installed warm lamps, and filled the display case with cakes and breads that looked incredible. On the window, in simple gold letters, it read, "Sweet Lucy's Cafe." That day, she opened at 8 a.m. sharp. The first customers came in drawn by the aroma of vanilla and freshly brewed coffee. An elderly woman was the first to speak. "What a beautiful place, dear." Lucy smiled. "Thank you. Would you like to try the carrot cake? It's the specialty." The woman tried it, and her eyes widened in surprise. "This is amazing. I haven't had anything this good in years." The news spread quickly. In a few days, Sweet Lucy's Cafe became the neighborhood's favorite spot. Families, students, couples, everyone wanted to try what she made. But the peace wouldn't last long because the man she had saved weeks ago was about to re-enter her life and her heart. The days at Sweet Lucy's Cafe became a beautiful routine for Lucy. She would wake up before dawn, prepare dough-bake muffins, cakes, cookies, and decorate cupcakes, while the coffee machine filled the place with an aroma that seemed to embrace everyone who walked in. People started coming more frequently, and the business flourished. Until one Thursday afternoon, the bell on the door rang. "Welcome," Lucy said, looking up, and froze. At the entrance, in a perfectly pressed black suit and an expression of sincere surprise, stood Ryan Belmont. He looked surprised, too, as if he hadn't expected to see her there, as if the image of her baking cupcakes and wiping her hands on an apron was completely new to him. "So this is what you did with the money," he said with a soft smile. Lucy tried to sound casual. "I invested in sugar and flour, much safer than saving desperate companies again." Ryan let out a deep laugh that made a few customers turn. "I can't argue with that," he replied, his eyes scanning the place. "It looks incredible." Lucy crossed her arms, trying to appear calm. "And what is the great CEO of Innovatech doing here? Don't tell me you're running from another attack." "No. Today, I just want a coffee and a piece of that chocolate cake that won't stop staring at me from the display case." Lucy raised an eyebrow. "You traveled all the way from your office just for a piece of cake." "Maybe," Ryan admitted. "But I also wanted to thank you in person, really." She wanted to say something, but more people came in at that moment, and the conversation was broken. Ryan sat at a corner table by the window. Lucy served him, but kept watching him discreetly. He ate slowly, as if savoring not just the cake, but the entire atmosphere. Before leaving, he left a $10 bill on the counter. "The cake was $6, sir," Lucy said with an incredulous smile. "Consider the extra $4 as compensation for the stress I caused you that night." She shook her head, amused. Ryan left, and although Lucy wouldn't admit it, a part of her hoped he would come back. And he did. Over the next week, he showed up 3 times always at the same time, around 3 p.m., when the cafe was quieter. He would order a black coffee and a different pastry each time. He always sat at the same table. He observed the atmosphere. Sometimes he worked on his laptop. Other times he just stared out the window as if watching the neighborhood life gave him a respite. His own world lacked. The first time, Lucy thought coincidence. The second, curious. The third, okay, that's enough. The following Thursday, when he walked in, she crossed her arms and said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Let me guess, black coffee and a slice of apple pie." Ryan took off his sunglasses with an amused smile. "Today, I want carrot cake. And you know you could just order it through an app, right? You don't have to cross half the city every time you crave a sweet." Ryan leaned a little closer to her, as if confiding a secret. "But if I order through an app, I miss out on your sarcastic comments." "Oh, what an honor. I'm the Millionaire's personal comedian." Several people near the register chuckled. A woman murmured to her friend, "That man comes in every day. He must like her." And her friend replied, without shame, "Who wouldn't? She's pretty witty and makes desserts that brighten your life." Lucy pretended not to hear, but she blushed. When she served the cake, Ryan handed her a $20 bill. "Keep it," he said before she could protest. "I don't need charity, Mr. Belmont," Lucy replied. "If you want to help recommend the cafe to your rich friends, that would actually be useful." "I'll consider the proposal," he answered, taking his usual seat. The days continued like that. Ryan would come in, make a witty comment. Lucy would respond with sarcasm, and the customers watched their exchange as part of the daily entertainment. Some even started arriving earlier just to see when he would appear. One Friday afternoon, while Ryan was enjoying a chocolate cupcake, he commented without looking up, "I can't stop thinking about that night." Lucy, wiping the counter, paused. "What night?" "The night of the attack. What you did was astonishing." She shrugged. "I just did what I had to do." "You don't understand," Ryan said, looking at her with deep seriousness. "For me, it meant everything." Lucy changed the subject quickly, uncomfortable with the praise. "And how's your company? Have you gotten everything under control?" Ryan hesitated. "More or less." "More or less." Lucy frowned. "We've been getting messages, small intrusions tests. Nothing serious, but something's not right." Lucy felt a chill. "And what do you want me to do? I'm not in that world anymore. I make cupcakes now." "I know, but you're the only one who understood the code that time. My team is good, but you think differently." Lucy crossed her arms, annoyed. "I'm not going back to that. I have a normal life, and I like it." Ryan nodded sadly. "All right. I'm sorry I asked." He stood up, left money on the table, and said before leaving, "If you change your mind, you know where to find me." That night the cafe was packed. Lucy barely had time to breathe between orders. Everything was going perfectly until suddenly the lights went out. Murmurs filled the room. "What happened?" "The power's out." Lucy took out her phone for light, walked to the window, and when she looked outside, she felt a blow to her chest. All the other shops on the street had power except hers. And worse, a man in a dark suit was standing in front of the cafe watching her. As soon as she noticed him, he turned and walked away quickly. Lucy swallowed hard. Something was terribly wrong. She ran to the fuse box. All the switches were down, as if someone had flipped them on purpose. She turned everything back on, and the cafe lit up again. The crowd applauded, unaware. Lucy smiled, but inside her stomach was in a knot. When she closed up the shop, her phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have gotten involved. Back off, or next time will be worse." Lucy felt fear ice her spine. She looked around her cafe one last time that night, her dream, and understood something. This wasn't over, and she had no idea the danger that was about to enter her life. Lucy stared at the message on her phone screen for a long time. Her breathing was fast, uncontrolled, as if there wasn't enough air in the silent room of the cafe. She felt her heart pounding in her chest. Something told her this wasn't a simple warning, not one of the many empty threats that float around the internet. This was real. This was direct. This was for her. The image of the man in the suit in front of her shop replayed in her mind. It hadn't been a coincidence. Neither was the blackout. Everything was connected. With trembling fingers, she dialed the number on the card Ryan had left her weeks ago. The call connected on the second ring. "Lucy," he answered, concerned. "We need to talk, now." 20 minutes later, Ryan arrived at the cafe. He rushed in, his usual calm demeanor gone. He wore a shirt without a jacket and a serious expression. "What happened?" he asked, sitting across from her. Lucy placed her phone on the table and showed him the message. Ryan read it, and his face changed immediately. "When did you get this?" "Half an hour after the blackout. It was someone outside. He saw that I noticed him and left." Ryan frowned. This is worse than I thought. They know you helped me. They know who you are." "I know," Lucy said with a tone of contained frustration. "That's why I called you." Ryan sighed and ran a hand through his hair, a gesture he always made when something worried him deeply. "I'm sorry I got you into this," he said. "I had no idea they would go this far." "It doesn't matter whose fault it is anymore," Lucy replied. "What matters is that this isn't going to stop." Ryan nodded slowly. They both fell silent for a few seconds, as if each was calculating in their head everything that message implied. Finally, Ryan spoke. "I need you to help me. Officially this time. Your intuition, the way you work. My team doesn't understand the code like you do. They're playing with us." Lucy closed her eyes for a second. She knew if she took this step, there would be no turning back, that she would be diving back into the darkest part of the digital world. But she also knew they had already made her a target, and staying on the sidelines would only make things worse. "All right," she said. "I'll help you, but on one condition." "Anything you want." "Stop coming here every day like a lost puppy. You distract me, you make the customers gossip, and you're messing up my routine." Ryan let out a small laugh of relief. "Deal." Over the next few days, Lucy returned to a world she had escaped years ago. Every night after closing the cafe, she would go into her small back room, where she had set up a workspace with 2 laptops and a creaky desk. There she spent hours reviewing code, analyzing patterns, and comparing the reports Ryan sent her daily from Innovatech. The attacks were small, subtle, like constant tests to probe for weaknesses. And one thing was very clear: whoever was doing it knew exactly how Ryan's company worked from the inside. One afternoon, while Lucy was arranging a lemon cake in the display case, she felt a presence beside her. Ryan was there again, with a worried look on his face. "I told you not to come so often," Lucy said without looking at him. "It's important," he replied. She turned and saw him with a strange expression, as if he wasn't sure what he was about to say. "What happened now?" Lucy asked. "No, it's not an attack. I just wanted to talk to you." "Right. In person. Lucy raised an eyebrow, a sign she was already suspecting the worst. All right, what did you do now, Ryan? He sat at the nearest table. Nothing bad. I just wanted to tell you that I enjoy spending time here with you. Lucy blinked. She hadn't expected that. She immediately tried to take it with humor. You say that because my cupcakes taste better than any expensive restaurants. I say it because it's been a long time since I've talked to someone without feeling like they expect something from me. Lucy crossed her arms, uncomfortable with the sincerity. Oh, don't start with the speeches. I'm still getting used to people not seeing me as the pizza girl. Ryan smiled, but at that moment his phone vibrated. He picked it up, and his expression changed abruptly. It can't be. What? Lucy asked, moving closer. We're under attack again, right now. Lucy straightened up. You have your laptop. It's in the car. Go get it. Ryan ran outside and returned in seconds. Lucy grabbed her 2 computers, turned them on, and set up a makeshift station on a table in the cafe. Several customers stopped eating to watch what was happening. What's going on, dear? Asked the usual elderly woman. Nothing, ma'am, just some technical stuff, Lucy replied, without taking her eyes off the screens. Lines of red code were streaming in at high speed. The hackers were going for the secondary firewall. It was a very specific entry point, the kind of access only someone with inside knowledge could have detected. Lucy began typing non-stop, connecting the 3 computers, executing simultaneous commands. Can you stop them? Ryan asked. Be quiet, you're distracting me. Ryan fell silent immediately. The customers watched, fascinated. A little boy even asked, Is this a movie? Better than a movie, his mom replied. Here we don't know if there's popcorn or a fire at the end. Lucy kept typing as if her fingers were on fire. She breathed quickly. Sweat dripped down her forehead. Okay, almost, she whispered. Suddenly the screens went blank. Then they reappeared with restored code. Everything was back to normal. There! Lucy exclaimed, letting go of the mouse. It's done, and the entire cafe applauded. Some recorded it. Others cheered. Lucy just raised her hands, tired but victorious. It's not a show you know. Go back to your cake, she said, though she sounded amused. Ryan placed a hand on her shoulder. You're incredible. Lucy let out a small sigh with a slight smile. I know. But the victory was short-lived. A pop-up window appeared on one of her screens with a new message. You shouldn't have come back. Now it's personal. Ryan read it beside her. Lucy, this involves you now. I know, she said, shutting down the computers. And I'm not going to stand by and do nothing. Ryan looked at her with concern. If you want, I can have my team handle it. Lucy let out a bitter laugh. Your team already tried, and they almost lost the company. No, if they want a war now, they're going to get one. But what neither of them knew was that this war was just beginning. The enemy was getting closer and closer. The news spread faster than Lucy could have imagined. The next morning, as she was opening the shop, a customer came in with a newspaper in her hand. Have you seen this, Lucy? Lucy frowned. No, she hadn't seen anything. The woman handed her the folded newspaper, and there it was, on half a page, Baker or Undercover Hacker, the young woman who saved Innovatech. They didn't just mention her name. There was also a photo of the cafe's storefront. Lucy felt her stomach tighten. Oh no, she murmured. Is all of this true? The customer asked curiously. Did you help that famous CEO? Lucy smiled uncomfortably. I just fixed a few things, nothing major. But it wasn't nothing major. The article was detailed. It talked about her supposed unusual ability. It insinuated that no one who delivers pizzas should know so much about systems, and even speculated that the whole thing could be a setup. As other customers started arriving, several brought the same newspaper. There were murmurs, awkward questions, comments that made her feel as if she were naked in front of everyone. By the afternoon, new people arrived not to buy cakes, but to take pictures of her record videos and ask her questions as if she were a celebrity or a criminal. Lucy was on the verge of losing her patience when her phone rang. "Lucy, we need to talk." "Ryan, if this is about the newspaper, I've already seen it." "My team saw it too, and some of them have started to suspect you." Lucy felt a lump in her throat. "Suspect me?" "Why?" Ryan hesitated for a few seconds. He didn't want to hurt her, but he had to say it. "They think you might be behind the attacks that you gained our trust to get into our system." The silence that followed was so heavy Ryan could almost feel it. "Do you think so too?" Lucy asked in a low voice. Ryan closed his eyes. "Everything is happening so fast. I don't know what to think." Lucy hung up before he could say anything else. She left her phone on the counter, took a deep breath, and forced herself not to cry in front of everyone. She had helped twice, and they still doubted her. She didn't know if she was more angry or disappointed. The following days were a silent hell. The regular customers kept coming, but they didn't look at her the same way. Some whispered when she walked by, others paid quickly and left without saying goodbye. And the elderly gentleman who always wanted credit now paid in exact change without looking her in the eye. Lucy tried to work as usual, but inside she felt that every comment, every look, every silence was breaking her down little by little. And then it happened. A man who had never been there before came in one afternoon, tall gray suit, a dark hat covering his face. He ordered a black coffee and sat in a corner. He didn't speak to anyone. He did nothing strange except sit there motionless for almost an hour. When he finally got up, he left something on the table, a small, folded piece of paper. Lucy saw it from the counter, frightened. She waited until he left the cafe to approach. She unfolded the note with trembling fingers. "You're next." She felt a wave of dizziness that almost made her fall. She put the paper in her pocket and closed the cafe early without telling anyone. She spent the rest of the day in a strange state between fear and rage, and for the first time since she opened her cafe, she didn't know what to do. At nightfall, without a second thought, Ryan appeared at the door. Lucy saw him through the window. A mix of anger and pain rose in her chest. When he came in, she didn't even look up. "Get out," she said, her voice breaking. "Lucy, please. I didn't come to fight." "Too late," she replied, wiping the counter without looking at him. "You did plenty of fighting when you doubted me." Ryan took a step toward her. "I swear I didn't mean to hurt you. It was a tough day. Everyone was on my case." "So what? It was easier to blame me." Lucy finally looked at him, her eyes filled with rage. "I risked everything to help you twice, and the first thing you do when things get complicated is see me as a suspect." Ryan was speechless. "You're right," he finally said in a low voice. "What I said was cowardly, and I'm here to apologize." Lucy closed her eyes. Her chest rose and fell quickly. "An apology doesn't fix anything." "Maybe not," Ryan agreed. "But I'm not leaving until you hear me out. I'm not going to leave you alone in this." Lucy was about to respond, but a noise interrupted her. The sound of breaking glass. They both turned toward the front window. The glass exploded inward. Lucy screamed and ducked as pieces of glass flew through the air. Ryan shielded her with his body. A large brick landed on the floor among the shards of glass. It had a paper tied to it. Ryan picked it up carefully while Lucy trembled. The note said, "Final warning." Lucy brought her hands to her mouth. Her eyes were filled with tears. "Ryan, I'm scared," she whispered. He held her tight, pulling her against his chest. "I know, but I'm not going to let anything happen to you. I promise." "You can't promise that," she said, her voice broken. "Not when they have my name, my address, and now my entire life in their hands." Ryan took her by the arms, looking her directly in the eyes. "Then we're leaving here. You're not staying alone tonight." Lucy hesitated. Seeing the cafe destroyed made her feel an immense emptiness. That place was her dream, and they were turning it into a nightmare. "And where do you want me to go?" she asked nervously. Ryan took a deep breath. "To my penthouse. It's secure. They can't find you there." Lucy swallowed. She wanted to say no, that she could stay with a friend or find a hotel. But when she saw the huge hole in the window, the glass everywhere, and the threatening note, she understood she no longer had a choice. "Okay," she whispered. "Just for tonight." Ryan carefully escorted her outside. Lucy looked at her cafe one last time before getting into the car. She had never felt so vulnerable or so angry in her life. She didn't know that this night was going to change everything. For better, and also for worse. The drive to Ryan's penthouse was silent. Lucy stared out the car window without really seeing anything. The city passed by as a blur of lights and shadows. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap. Her jaw was clenched, and though she tried to appear calm inside, she felt a mixture of fear, anger, and exhaustion. Ryan drove seriously, focused his eyes fixed on the road. Every so often he would glance at her, as if to make sure she was still there, that she was okay, but he didn't push. He knew she needed the silence. 40 minutes later, they arrived at the building. It was one of those luxury complexes with a glass facade, cameras everywhere, and a lobby that looked more like a 5-star hotel than a place to live. Lucy got out slowly, looking around cautiously. Her nerves were still a tight knot that wouldn't loosen. Upon entering the penthouse, the first thing she noticed was how huge it was. Floor-to-ceiling windows, an immense view of the city modern furniture, and lighting that turned on by itself as soon as they walked through the door. "Welcome," the apartment's automated system said in a soft female voice. Lucy's eyes widened in surprise. "Does your house talk to you?" Ryan managed a small smile. "It's the smart system. It controls lights, temperature, security, everything." Lucy started walking slowly through the living room. She touched the furniture as if it were fragile. She went to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, and stared at its contents. Bottles of water, green juices, sealed packages, and frozen items that looked like they were from a restaurant. "Do you really live like this?" she asked. "You don't even have eggs." "I eat out most of the time," Ryan replied, a bit embarrassed. "Right, rich people don't cook," she murmured, closing the fridge. She went to the bathroom and came back with an expression of astonishment. "You have a bathtub with LED light speakers and jets everywhere. My shower barely has lukewarm water." Ryan started to laugh. "You can use it if you want." Lucy shook her head, though she smiled a little. "Relax. I'm not at that level of comfort with you yet." Ryan grew serious again. He grabbed a folder full of papers and a USB drive. "I brought everything I gathered. Transactions logs, reports from my team. Some things don't add up." Lucy stopped joking. She sat on the couch and started reviewing everything with him. Ryan plugged the USB into the laptop and opened several files. For 2 hours, they worked together in silence. Lucy underlined compared dates, analyzed money movements, and connected dots no one else had noticed. Suddenly, she stopped. "Ryan, come here." He hurried over. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a series of transfers. They were small, repeated deposits directed to an offshore account. Nothing that would stand out at first glance, but they were consistent. Very consistent. This isn't normal, Lucy said, especially when they're authorized by someone internal. Ryan read the names, his face turning pale. No, this can't be. Lucy switched windows, traced where the transfers had been approved from, and there the name of the person responsible appeared: Stephen Rivers, Vice President of Operations, Ryan's right-hand man. Lucy said it in a low voice. It's him. Ryan sank into the couch, completely devastated. Stephen he's my friend. He's been with me for years. I helped him when he was unemployed. I trusted him with everything. Lucy placed a hand on his shoulder. Ryan, the numbers don't lie. He closed his eyes, trying to process it. But why would he do this? Lucy continued digging. Because he has someone above him. Someone who recruited him. Who... She typed faster, looking for connections, reviewing old logs, junk mail, old code, and finally found a name, a photo, a profile, a face that seemed dark even in the picture. Irina Volkov, Ryan whispered. He leaned over the screen. She's the head of cybersecurity at Innovatech. We fired her 3 years ago, Ryan said, even more surprised. Stephen was the one who presented the evidence to let her go. Yes, but look at this, Lucy said. That evidence never existed. No one verified anything. They fired her based on what Stephen said. Ryan's eyes widened in horror. So, he betrayed her. Lucy nodded. Irina must have lost everything because of that accusation, her career, her reputation. Now she's seeking revenge, and she found Stephen, the one who started it all. Ryan paced the living room, pressing his hands to his head. This is insane. Before Lucy could respond, the apartment trembled slightly. The lights flickered. The system spoke, but its voice wasn't the same. System compromised. The light turned red. Lucy jumped to her feet. Ryan, something's wrong. A high-pitched beep echoed through the penthouse, followed by the sound of metallic locks engaging. Ryan ran to the front door and tried to open it. Nothing, it wouldn't budge. No, it can't be. Yes, it can, Lucy said. They're hacking your house. And then the system's voice returned, distorted. Exit blocked. System compromised. We're trapped in here, Ryan exclaimed. Lucy ran to the computer. The screen was filled with lines of red code advancing like fire. They're taking total control, she said, trying to type. I need to get into your house's central server. Where is it? Ryan pointed to a door in the hallway. He tried to open it, but it was also locked. Lucy grabbed a kitchen knife. What are you doing? Ryan asked. Opening it my way. She inserted the blade into the lock's slot and began to forcefully manipulate it. It took several minutes, but finally the door gave way. They entered the dark room where a server tower stood with lights blinking as if possessed. Everything is in here, Ryan said. Can you fix it? Lucy connected her laptop directly. No, but I can shut it down and reboot it manually to regain control. Her fingers flew changing cables, altering commands, forcing a restart. For a second, everything went silent, and then the light returned to a normal tone. The front door unlocked. The system spoke again in its friendly voice. Welcome back, Mr. Belmont. Ryan exhaled deeply. You did it. Lucy leaned against the desk, sweating. They were seconds away from taking total control. Ryan approached her. I've never been so scared in my life. Lucy looked up, exhausted. You have to understand something, Ryan. This isn't about money anymore, or companies, or common attacks. This is personal. Irina is after you, and now she's after me, too. Ryan looked at her, and for the first time, not as a CEO, not as a client, not as someone he admired. He looked at her as someone who was afraid of losing her. I'm not going to doubt you again, he said with a firm voice. I promise. And Lucy knew. From that moment on, They were in this together. Lucy woke up the next day with a start. For a moment she forgot where she was, until she saw the enormous window with the city view. Ryan's penthouse felt too elegant, too comfortable, too quiet for someone coming from a small apartment and a destroyed cafe. She remembered last night. The house locked down, the system hacked the door, sealed the red lights. It had all been real. It wasn't a nightmare. She and Ryan had been seconds away from being completely trapped inside. She got up slowly and went into the hallway. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. Ryan was in the kitchen, his hair a bit messy, a cup in his hand. "Good morning," he said, smiling. "Hi," Lucy replied, stretching as if she'd slept on a cloud. "Did you manage to make coffee? Or did the house do it for you?" "I did it, I think," he answered, looking at the machine doubtfully. Lucy took the cup he offered her and took a sip. She wrinkled her nose slightly. "It tastes weird." Ryan rolled his eyes. "It's premium organic coffee." "Ah, that explains why it tastes like grass." Ryan let out a laugh. "I have muffins, but I warn you they didn't turn out very well." She tried a piece chewed twice and left it on the plate. "Ryan, this tastes like a burnt tire." "Hey, I tried." "And you failed miserably." They looked at each other for a second, and both started laughing. It was Lucy's first genuine laugh in days. Something in her chest loosened just a little. Ryan watched her as she walked to the terrace, taking in the fresh air. "Lucy," he said, approaching cautiously, "I know you're tired, scared, angry, and that all of this has been thrown at you so fast, but I want you to know you don't have to face any of it alone." She leaned against the railing. "I'm not used to people taking care of me," she admitted. "Well, get used to it," Ryan replied, moving a few inches closer. Lucy felt a strange warmth in her chest, something between nervousness and something else. But before she could say anything, Ryan's phone vibrated incessantly. He pulled it out of his pocket, and his expression changed immediately. "We have news." "Good or bad?" Lucy asked. "Both." He took control of the TV and projected an incoming call from a private investigator he had hired weeks ago. Lucy was surprised to see a photo of a man with a beard and glasses on the screen. "Mr. Belmont," the investigator said. "I found what you were looking for." Lucy moved closer. "What did you find?" "Information about the other suspect, the one who resigned months ago. Emilio Kaczmarek." Lucy felt a chill. "What about him?" "We discovered that he transferred money to accounts similar to Stephen's. And not only that, we have evidence that he was in direct communication with Irina Volkov before he disappeared from the country." Ryan frowned. "So he was working with her?" "At first, yes. But when he saw things were escalating too much, he tried to get out. She didn't take it well." Lucy crossed her arms. "And where is he now?" The investigator took a breath. "In Chicago. He arrived 3 months ago. Then he completely vanished, but I found his last location. He was living with his family there. Everything indicates that Irina had him under control." Lucy swallowed hard. "Do you think Irina—" The investigator lowered his voice. "We don't know, but he disappeared without a trace." Lucy turned to Ryan. "This is bigger than we thought." Ryan nodded seriously. "We have to find Irina before she finds us." That day, Lucy decided to abandon the idea of resting. She couldn't. Her mind kept working, analyzing connecting pieces. Ryan wanted to go to work with her, but she sent him to make calls while she reviewed Innovatech's server from the penthouse. There was something in that code that didn't sit right with her, something that repeated something that looked like a trail. Finally, at 6 p.m., Lucy jumped from her seat. "Done. I found something." Ryan ran to where she was. "What is it?" a way into Irina's system, a loophole she left by mistake. Are you sure? No one leaves a perfect system, not even her. Ryan looked at her with a mix of admiration and fear. Lucy, if you're wrong, she'll detect us. I know, she said, but if I don't try, we'll never know what she wants, what she's planning, or when she's going to attack again. Ryan took a deep breath. Okay, what do you need me to do? Step aside. This is going to be quick. Lucy opened several windows, created parallel access points, prepared digital escape routes to prevent Irina from tracing the attack. She was nervous, but also confident. This was her element. Here she trusted her skills. Okay, I'm going in, she said as she typed. Once I'm in, I'll leave a message. Only she will understand. I'm going to force her to respond. Ryan swallowed. Are you sure that… Ryan, silence. Let me work. He obeyed. Lucy made the final click. The screens flickered. A sharp sound came from the computer. The connection opened, as if breaking a digital wall on the other side of the world. And then Lucy wrote, "Hello, Irina. I'm Lucy Anderson. Let's end this." The response came in less than 5 seconds. So, you're the famous pizza girl. Lucy felt a chill. The woman was there, watching her, waiting. She wrote, "You destroyed my cafe. You threatened me. This isn't just against Ryan anymore, it's against me too, and I'm not going to let you win." The response came like a blow. "You chose the wrong side, and now you're going to pay for it." Ryan leaned toward the screen. What does she mean by that? Lucy kept typing. If you're so sure you're going to win, why don't you come for me? Why do you attack from the shadows? The screen was silent for a few seconds, and then, "Very well, Lucy. If you want a war, you'll have it." Suddenly, all the windows on Lucy's computer began to move on their own. An avalanche of code flooded the screen. The attack was brutal, immediate, precise. Ryan's eyes widened in horror. "Lucy, what is she doing? She's trying to get into my system. She wants my data. She wants everything." "Can you stop her?" Lucy gritted her teeth. "Of course I can." Her fingers flew. She opened defenses. She closed access points, bounced packets. She created false mirrors, redirected attacks. It was like a digital duel. Two minds fighting at a speed a normal person could never process. Ryan only saw Lucy's hands moving so fast they were almost a blur. "Lucy, are you shaking?" "I don't have time to shake," she replied. Irina typed one last sentence. "Let's see if you're as smart as they say." And in that instant, the attack changed. It became stronger, more aggressive, more destructive. Lucy felt she was losing ground. "No, no, no!" "Lucy!" Ryan shouted desperately. She took a deep breath, gritted her teeth, and changed her strategy. "Okay, I can play dirty too," she whispered. With a series of simultaneous commands, Lucy launched 50 invasive processes, opening loopholes, forcing overwrites, sending false routes. It was risky. If she failed, Irina would have her exact location, all her data, and her life in her hands. But if she succeeded… Suddenly the screens went dark for a second, then came back in green. Ryan stood motionless. "Lucy." She took a deep, shaky breath, almost not believing it. "I just got into her server." "What, you beat her?" Lucy smiled, a tremor of excitement and exhaustion running through her. "I beat her, and I have everything." For the first time in days, something like hope reappeared. Lucy's hands were trembling, but she didn't let that stop her. On the screen were lines and lines of information locations, IP addresses, names, transfer histories, and a file with a title that made her blood run cold: Operation Innovatech Takedown. Ryan leaned toward the computer, incredulous. "All of this is Irina's Everything, Lucy replied. Her plans, her contacts, the payments she received, the ones she made even her team members. She opened a file. 10 names appeared on the list among them. Stephen Rivers, Emilio Kazmarek, 3 ex-engineers from Innovatech, 2 programmers from a rival company, and a digital signature that only said LV. Lucy pointed to the initials. This file is protected. I can't open it without triggering an alarm. Do you think LV is her? Ryan asked. Could be, or it could be someone else. This file is the most important one. Ryan ran a hand through his hair. Lucy, this is enough to take to the authorities. Yes, but first I have to secure the information. If Irina detects I have it, she'll delete everything and leave no trace. Then do it, he said decisively. Lucy began copying the data and sending it to an external server she had built years ago. It was discreet, invisible, the kind of place where only someone like her could hide something so sensitive. But as soon as she started the transfer, a pop-up window appeared. Connection detected. User LV attempting to regain control. Ryan's eyes widened. I didn't touch anything. She's fighting to get it back. Lucy gritted her teeth. Of course she is. This data is her life. But I'm better. She started typing non-stop, closing access points, changing keys, cloning fragments of information. The transfer was running at full speed. 65%, 72%, 81%, 94%, 100%. Lucy pressed enter and disconnected everything abruptly. The screen went black. Ryan swallowed hard. Lucy, what happened? She smiled, breathing a sigh of relief. I have it. It's all safe, stored externally. Even if she deletes what's here, she can't make it disappear from the world. Ryan looked at her as if he were seeing a miracle. I don't know how much I admire you. Lucy shrugged. I know. He let out a small laugh. You're becoming unbearable. It was a compliment, she retorted, winking at him. Minutes later, Ryan received a call. It was the private investigator. Mr. Belmont, we have an update, he said in a serious voice. It's not good. Lucy and Ryan exchanged glances. Tell me what happened. Security cameras near Emilio Kazmarek's home detected new movement 2 days ago. The local police went today. We found his house completely empty. It looked abandoned, but with signs of a hasty departure. Lucy tensed. And him? The investigator hesitated. He's not there. Neither are his wife and children. He left no notes, no travel records, nothing. They literally vanished. Ryan leaned on the table. Do you think Irina forced him to flee? Or worse, the investigator replied. We have no proof, but we know he wanted out of the plan, and she doesn't tolerate traitors. Lucy swallowed. So Irina is desperate, and when someone like that is cornered, they do crazy things. The investigator continued, I recommend you don't stay alone, and that you increase security. I'll keep looking. Ryan ended the call and stood in silence for a few seconds. Lucy approached him. Ryan, don't look like that. We're going to find her before she does something more serious. I don't want anything to happen to you, he said with a sincerity that completely disarmed her. This all started with me. I brought Irina into the company. I trusted Stephen. I let her into your life. Lucy took his hand to make him look at her. Ryan, listen to me. I decided to help you. I chose to get involved, and I did it because I know what I'm capable of. This isn't your fault. He looked at her as if he were seeing something deeper in her eyes, a strength he didn't know he needed. Lucy, he said softly, I promise I will never doubt you again. She smiled faintly. Good, because if you do it again, I'll hack your fridge so it only gives you green juice for a month. Ryan let out a genuine laugh. Now that would be torture. That night, while Lucy was reviewing backups, Her phone vibrated with an unknown message. She opened it without thinking and felt her heart stop. It was a photograph taken that same day at the door of the destroyed cafe with a shadow in the broken glass. A silhouette. Someone standing in front of the place. Below the photo was a text, "Realized, yet you have nowhere to go back to." Lucy felt a mixture of fury and fear. "I'm so sick of this woman," she exclaimed. Ryan ran to her. "What happened?" Lucy showed him the message. Ryan clenched his jaw. "This is direct harassment." "It's war," Lucy corrected. "Then let's finish it," Ryan said. She shook her head. "No, I'm going to finish it. You're going to stay alive and in a place where you're not an easy target." Ryan took her by the shoulders. "You're not leaving me out of this." Lucy gently pulled away. "I'm not leaving you out. I'm just saying you can't enter her battlefield. This world is mine and she knows it." Ryan was about to reply, but at that moment the penthouse doorbell rang. They both turned toward the door, tense. Ryan checked the hallway camera, and his face paled. "Lucy, it's the police." 10 minutes later, 2 officers were inside the penthouse. One was looking at papers, the other asking questions. "Mr. Belmont," said the younger officer, "we're here about a report that came in tonight. Apparently there was a digital intrusion attempt on this building." Lucy and Ryan exchanged quick glances. "Who reported it?" Ryan asked, controlling his voice. "We don't know. It was anonymous." Lucy felt a chill. It was a trick. Irina wanted information. She wanted to know what they knew. The older officer continued, "We were also informed that Ms. Anderson might be involved in recent cyberattacks. The description matches previous reports and press articles." Lucy felt her legs weaken. "Are you saying I'm a suspect?" "We're not accusing," the officer replied. "We just need to ask some questions about your relationship with Mr. Belmont and his systems." Ryan stepped forward immediately. "She did nothing illegal. She's my external consultant. She works for me." The officers looked at each other. Lucy felt something burn in her chest. This was no longer a game. Irina was trying to put her in the law's crosshairs. The officer kept talking. "We just need to know if Ms. Anderson has had access to confidential information or internal servers." Ryan interrupted him. "Officer, I think you've just been manipulated. Someone is attacking us and is trying to use the police as a shield." The officer frowned. "Someone who," Lucy answered, "a woman named Irina Volkov. And if you don't stop her soon, she's going to keep destroying everything she touches." The officers took notes, bewildered. They didn't seem to know what to believe. Finally, the senior officer spoke. "We will contact Central Cybersecurity. For now, there are no charges, but don't leave the city. Understood?" They left the penthouse. The door closed. Lucy let her shoulders slump. "Ryan, Irina is escalating way too fast." "I know," he said. Lucy looked up, fire in her eyes. "Then it's time we go looking for her." Ryan felt a knot in his stomach. "How?" Lucy picked up her laptop. "There's a way, but you're not going to like it." Ryan swallowed. "What way?" She looked at him intently. "I'm going to trace the active connections she attacked from, and I'm going to confront her in person." Ryan stared at Lucy as if she had just said the craziest thing in the world. "You want to confront her in person?" he asked in a low voice, as if the very idea could awaken a monster. Lucy closed her laptop and took a deep breath. Ryan, Irina isn't going to stop. Not while she thinks she can control everything from her hiding place. And you've seen what she does. She hacked your house, destroyed my cafe, sent people to watch me, planted rumors, called the police. If we don't stop her, she's just going to keep raising the stakes." Ryan ran a hand through his hair, trying to process it all. "It's dangerous." "Of course it's dangerous," Lucy replied. But staying here and doing nothing is even more so. Ryan pressed his lips together. Do you have any idea where she could be? Lucy opened her laptop again, with determination. Let me trace the connections. I can't get an exact address, but I can locate the cell towers where her signal has bounced. No one launches attacks this strong without leaving a minimal trace. And if she left one, I'll find it. Ryan watched her work with a mix of fear, admiration, and pride. She was incredible. Her fingers flew as she analyzed logs, triangulated signals, and forced access that anyone else would have considered impossible. After half an hour, Lucy looked up. The last strong signal is coming from an industrial zone on the outskirts of the city. Old warehouses, abandoned workshops, the kind of place where someone who doesn't want to be found would hide. Ryan frowned. You want us to go there? Lucy nodded. Tonight. 3 hours later. At night, a black car drove down a nearly empty road toward an area where the streets were poorly lit. The lampposts were old, and many windows were boarded up. Lucy was in the passenger seat with her laptop open on her lap. Ryan kept his hands firm on the steering wheel, though his breathing betrayed his nervousness. Tell me exactly what we're going to do, he said, testing the waters. Lucy answered without looking away from the screen. First, I'll verify if the signal is still active. If it is, we confront her. If not, we find physical evidence, anything that can help the authorities. But we're not leaving empty-handed. And if Irina is there, what do we do? Lucy closed the computer. We're not going in to fight Ryan. I just want to see her. I want to look her in the eyes and make it clear that I'm not afraid of her. Ryan slammed on the brakes. Lucy, for God's sake. Irina is dangerous. She's not a video game character. You can't just look her in the eyes and expect her to get scared. Lucy took a deep breath. It's not to scare her. It's to tell her that I know who she is, what she's done, and what's going to happen to her. That will destabilize her. People like her hate losing control. Ryan closed his eyes for a moment. I don't want anything to happen to you, he said sincerely. Lucy looked at him softly. And I don't want them to keep destroying your life. They were silent for a moment. Then Ryan started the car again. They reached the industrial zone. It was a cold, silent place, barely lit by a couple of old lamps. Lucy pointed to a large, dilapidated building with graffiti and broken windows. There, she said, pointing to the main warehouse. Ryan parked far away. Let's be careful. They got out of the car. The wind was icy. Lucy walked with firm steps, but inside her heart was pounding. They approached the warehouse. The door was ajar. Ryan grabbed her arm. Let me go first. Ryan, she began. Please, he said, looking at her with an intensity that left no room for argument. Lucy nodded. Ryan pushed the door open slowly. The inside was dark, but they could see some old machinery, scattered cables, metal tables, and a desk covered in papers. Everything seemed abandoned except for a laptop that was on at the back. Lucy noticed it instantly. That's hers, she whispered. That glow, that model. She uses it for remote connections. Ryan looked at her cautiously. She could be here. Or she could have been here minutes ago. Lucy walked toward the laptop carefully. Ryan stayed close alert. When she touched the keyboard, the screen reacted, showing lines of code, and then a message appeared. You're late. Lucy swallowed. Ryan tensed. She's mocking us, he said. Lucy kept reading. Below the message, another appeared. I knew you would come. Thank you for showing me that fear no longer paralyzes you, Lucy. It will be more fun to crush you when you're confident. The air grew heavy. Lucy felt a knot in her chest. It wasn't a simple message. It was an invitation, a provocation. Ryan slammed his fist on the table. That woman is sick. Lucy slammed the laptop shut. Ryan, we have to go. This warehouse is too clean. Nothing is out of place except this. You think she's watching us? I'm sure of it, and not from here, from somewhere else. This is a decoy. Ryan looked around and felt that every shadow could be hiding someone. Let's go, he said. They left quickly, but when they reached the car, Lucy felt something was wrong. The car was untouched. There was no one around. They hadn't heard footsteps. They hadn't seen any movement, and yet something inside her was uneasy. Ryan opened the driver's door. Get in quick. Lucy was about to get in, but stopped. Something caught her attention. A small white paper was stuck under the windshield wiper. Ryan saw it too. What's that? Lucy took it carefully. When she opened it, she recognized the handwriting instantly. If you keep looking, you will find more than you can handle, including your own end. Ryan snatched the paper from her angrily. That's it. This is a direct threat. Lucy took a deep breath and forced herself to think clearly. Ryan, we can't lose our heads. That's what she wants, for us to react without thinking. And what do you propose? Lucy looked at him seriously. Irina isn't hiding anymore. She's playing with us, and that means one thing. Ryan looked at her without blinking. What? Lucy squeezed the paper. That she already feels we're catching up to her. Ryan started the car. Then we'll catch her. Lucy looked at him and felt that for the first time in all this chaos, they were moving in the right direction. But before they left, Lucy got back in the seat, opened her phone, and saw it. A new message. No text. Just an image taken from a high angle through a surveillance camera. Her and Ryan inside the warehouse. Just 10 minutes ago. Lucy felt a chill. She showed the screen to Ryan. He gripped the steering wheel tightly. She's watching us, Lucy whispered. Yes, Ryan said, putting the phone away. But she's also making mistakes. Ryan looked at her. What mistake? Lucy replied in a cold, firm, confident voice. She underestimates everything I can do. Lucy couldn't sleep a second that night. After returning from the warehouse with Ryan, she sat on the penthouse couch with her laptop open, her eyes fixed on the screen, but not really reading. Her heart was pounding, her breath was short, and a sense of urgency burned like fire in her chest. Ryan watched her from the kitchen. He didn't want to interrupt, but he couldn't ignore the tension in the air. Finally, he approached with a cup of hot tea. Lucy, you should get some rest. She didn't even look up. I can't. She knows we went to the warehouse. She sent messages to both of us. She's watching us. And not only that, she's leaving a trail, so we know she is. A trail? Ryan asked. Lucy typed something quickly. See for yourself. She opened a file she had copied from the warehouse. There were repeated patterns codes almost identical to those from the last digital attacks, but most importantly, they were deliberate. She wants us to know she's there, Lucy said. She's playing, and that means she wants us to get closer. Ryan frowned. Why would she do that? Lucy took a deep breath. Because people like her need to feel superior. They need to prove they have the upper hand even when they no longer do. Ryan looked at her with a mix of concern and admiration. Lucy spoke with a confidence that was almost intimidating to him. And you think she doesn't have it anymore? He asked. Lucy closed her laptop. I think she's losing control, and that she's desperate. Ryan sat next to her. Lucy, I want you to listen to me carefully. In all of this, you are the best thing that has happened to me. I don't want anything to happen to you. I don't want her to touch you, to get near you, to hurt you. Lucy interrupted him. Ryan, you can't protect me from something that's in my world. In yours, yes, but not in mine. He looked down. And I still want to try. Lucy didn't respond. She didn't know what to say. There was too much at stake, too much confusion, too much danger to think about something so emotional at that moment. Or at least that's what she tried to believe, because when Ryan looked up, she felt the urge to hug him as if he were the only stable thing in the midst of the chaos. But she didn't. She couldn't. "Let's keep working," she said, breaking the moment. Ryan nodded, though his expression showed a hint of pain. At dawn, they were both the same, tired, with dark circles under their eyes, but not giving up. Lucy had more files open than hours slept. Ryan had coffee in his hand and had been frowning for 3 hours. Suddenly, Lucy's screen flickered. A new alert appeared. Lucy leaned forward. "Ryan, look at this." It was a ping from an IP address she had seen before. "This one," Ryan recognized the number. "Yes," Lucy said. "Irina is active right now." She opened the connection, but what appeared wasn't code. It was a text message being written in real time. "Working late, I see." Ryan clenched his fist. "That woman." Lucy typed a quick reply. "What do you want?" Irina responded instantly. "Tired already, Lucy? I doubt it. You have the spirit of a gambler. You were made for this." Lucy felt an unpleasant shiver. "She's studying us," she murmured. "She's been analyzing us for days." Another message appeared. "But I'll give you a hint, Lucy. The problem was never Ryan or you. The problem was always the person who moved the pieces from the inside." Ryan froze. Lucy frowned. "What are you talking about?" The reply took longer this time. "Do you really think Stephen made all those decisions alone, that I was the only one who betrayed them? Please?" Lucy felt a pang in her stomach. "No, it can't be." Ryan took a deep breath. "What is she saying?" She wrote, "Who else is involved?" Irina replied. "I'm not going to tell you that, dear. But they're close, very close. Someone you know well." Ryan took a step back. "No, it can't be someone else from the board. We already checked." "No," Lucy interrupted. "She's playing. She wants to distract us, confuse us, make us fight among ourselves." Ryan took a deep breath, trying to calm down, but Irina wasn't finished. "You know what's saddest? That you two actually think you can beat me." Lucy typed quickly. "I've beaten you once already." The reply didn't take long. "You only won 1 round, but the fight continues." And then an attached file appeared. Ryan's eyes widened. "What is that?" Lucy hesitated for a second and opened the file. It was a video, a security recording. A dark place, a man walking quickly, a woman behind him shouting. Lucy squinted. "It's Emilio." Ryan moved closer. "Yes, that's Emilio Kaczmarek." The video continued. The woman caught up to him. She put something to his neck. The man fell to the ground. Lucy felt her blood run cold. "Ryan, it's her," he said in a low voice. "It's Irina." The video ended with the woman dragging the body to an unmarked car. Ryan turned pale. "Irina killed Emilio." Lucy didn't answer. She could barely breathe. The video was real, not a fake, and that meant they were facing someone even more dangerous than they had imagined. A final message appeared on the screen. "Next time it could be anyone." Lucy felt a lump in her throat. Ryan moved closer instinctively, as if to protect her, even though it was impossible. "This has escalated to another level," Lucy murmured. She took a deep, deep breath and said, "Then we're going to escalate to the next level too." Ryan looked at her surprised. Lucy closed all the windows, turned off the laptop, and stood up. "I'm done playing defense," she said firmly. "Irina wants a war, and now she's going to get one." Ryan swallowed. "What are you planning?" Lucy looked at him with a new intensity, dangerous, determined. "I'm going to trace the source of the video, the exact location it was sent from. And when I have it, I'm going to tell the authorities exactly where to find her." Ryan shook his head. "That will infuriate her." Lucy smiled for the first time in hours. "Exactly." The next hour was a whirlwind of activity. Lucy opened all the files Irina had sent. She analyzed every byte, every fragment of metadata, every digital trace that could reveal the original location. Ryan paced back and forth like a caged lion. "Do you have it?" he asked every 10 minutes. "No," she would reply. "Not yet. Give me time." After an hour and a half, Lucy froze completely. Then she started laughing very softly. Ryan approached alarmed. "What happened? Have you gone crazy?" Lucy turned the laptop towards him. "Look at this number." Ryan squinted. "It's a network cell." "Yes," Lucy replied, "and it's coming from a router near the border. Very close." "Where exactly?" "At a migration point that connects the US with a direct route north. It doesn't say which one, but..." She zoomed in on the map. "It's near an international highway." Ryan's eyes widened. "The border?" "Yes. If Irina is around there, is she going to flee or cross?" Ryan looked at her intently. "Do you think we can notify the authorities to catch her?" Lucy took a breath. "I think we can do it right now." She picked up her phone. She dialed a number. A familiar voice answered. The private investigator. "I know where she is," she said without preamble. "I'm sending you the coordinates." Ryan watched her, incredulous. "Really?" Lucy said with a tired smile. "I'm good at what I do." She sent the coordinates. The investigator replied, "I'll mobilize the federal police and border patrol. If she's there, she won't get out." Ryan collapsed onto the couch, exhausted, but relieved. "Lucy, I don't know how to thank you." She sat next to him. "Don't celebrate yet. Irina is dangerous. They won't catch her easily, but she's cornered now." "Yes," Lucy said, "and cornered animals bite harder." Ryan took her hand. "I'm not going to let her hurt you." She looked at him, her heart beating faster. "I know." But deep down, something told her the story wasn't over yet, that the worst was about to come. The night in the penthouse passed with a different kind of tension than before. It was no longer fear, no longer uncertainty. It was that strange state where you feel everything is about to be resolved, for better or for worse. Lucy checked her phone every minute for new information from the investigator or the authorities. Ryan paced back and forth, unable to stay still. "Do you think they'll find her?" he asked, a tremor in his voice he tried to hide. Lucy had learned to read his every gesture. "Yes," she replied. "She won't be able to hide this time. She left too many clues. Even if she thinks everything is perfect, she got cocky." Ryan sat next to her. "I never thought I'd end up living through this," he said, looking at his own hands. "I started a company to innovate, to create, not to watch it be used as a weapon of war." Lucy looked at him softly. "Ryan, you didn't cause this. You made bad decisions about who to trust, yes, but the fault lies with them, with those who used their power to hurt. You were just in the way when they wanted to destroy something great." Ryan looked up at her. "And you were in the way to save it." Lucy gave a small smile. "You just ordered a pizza. You didn't imagine all this either." Ryan let out a small, tired laugh. "I never thought the woman who walked in with a pizza box would end up saving everything for me." Lucy's heart sped up. She wanted to say something, but just then her phone vibrated loudly. They both tensed. Lucy answered, "Yes." It was the private investigator, his voice rushed. "Lucy Ryan. We got her." Ryan took a step forward without realizing it. "We're near the northern border at a point between rural roads. She was trying to cross with fake documents, but the federal police and border agents surrounded her. She's in custody." Lucy closed her eyes, breathing deeply. Ryan sank onto the sofa as if a weight had been lifted from him. "Did she say anything?" Lucy asked. "Yes, a lot. She's furious. She's saying this isn't over, that she has contacts that you don't understand who you've messed with." Lucy clenched her jaw. "That doesn't matter. She's out of the game now. It's up to the law." The investigator continued. The rest of her team was also arrested. Stephen Rivers was captured trying to flee south, and they found incriminating evidence on Emilio's computers and those of other accomplices. They're going to face serious charges, very serious. Ryan felt a ton of tension release from his body. "Thank you, really." The investigator just replied, "You two made all of this happen. Without your information, we never would have caught them. Get some rest. It's over." Lucy hung up slowly. She stood still, processing everything. Ryan approached her. "Lucy." She looked up, and for the first time in weeks, she smiled without a trace of fear. "We did it." Ryan hugged her without thinking. She didn't pull away. On the contrary, she held onto him tightly. She could feel his rapid breathing, his heart beating as fast as hers. They stayed like that for a long time, letting out the exhaustion, the terror, the adrenaline, everything. When they separated, Ryan held her by the waist. "Lucy, I have something to tell you." She looked at him, her eyes shining. "Say it." Ryan took a deep breath. "I fell in love with you. I tried to deny it because everything was chaos, because your life was in danger, because I didn't know if you felt the same. But I can't keep it in anymore." Lucy felt her chest tighten with emotion, but it wasn't fear. It was something much warmer. "Ryan, I fell in love with you too. And believe me, I tried to avoid it, but it happened, and now I don't want to avoid it anymore." He smiled, as if those words were the first sign of light after an endless storm. "So," he said, moving a little closer, "will you let me stay in your life?" Lucy laughed softly. "Only if you promise not to burn any more muffins." Ryan feigned indignation. "I didn't burn the muffins, they just cooked too fast." "Uh-huh. Sure," she joked. Ryan hugged her again, this time calmly, without fear. 2 days passed before they could return to the cafe. The investigations at the border, the interrogations, and the official reports kept them busy. But finally the time came to return to Sweet Lucy's. When they arrived, the place was still wounded. Broken windows, overturned chairs, dust in the corners. But it was also her space, her dream. Lucy took a deep breath, as if filling herself with renewed energy. "I'm going to rebuild everything," she said firmly. "I'm not going to let someone like Irina destroy my life." Ryan stood beside her, observing the damage. "And you won't do it alone. I'll help you with whatever you need." Lucy smiled and took his hand. "Then let's start today." And they did. In the following days, they hired people to fix the windows, paint the walls, repair the furniture, and reinstall the kitchen. Ryan showed up every day with coffee tools or just to carry boxes. Though he wasn't much help with manual labor, his intention was adorable. "Ryan, that brush is for walls, not furniture," Lucy would say, laughing. "I know," he'd reply, though he clearly didn't. In a week, the place started to look new. In 2, it looked like a dream. In 3, Lucy was ready for the reopening. That day, more people came than they expected, neighbors, loyal customers, curious onlookers, and even employees from Innovatech. There were balloons, soft music, and a perfect smell of freshly baked bread. Lucy wore a new apron. Ryan had flowers in his hand. "Ready?" he asked. Lucy took a breath. "Ready." She opened the doors. The crowd greeted her with applause. She blushed, laughing. The elderly gentleman, the one who always forgot his wallet, was the first to arrive. "Can I get a coffee on credit?" he asked with a big smile. Lucy crossed her arms, feigning annoyance. "Again, you never change." People laughed. Ryan smiled. It was beautiful to see life returning to that place. After a few hours, Lucy stepped out for a moment to the small back terrace. Ryan followed her. "Hey, now that things have calmed down a bit," he said, "I have an important question." Lucy raised an eyebrow. "Go on, surprise me." Ryan took her hands. "I want us to be together officially. I want a life with you. And yes, I know it sounds cheesy, but it's the truth." Lucy bit her lip, a soft smile playing on her face. "Ryan, I want that too." Then he leaned in a little. "Can I kiss you?" Lucy laughed. "It doesn't feel the same if you ask for permission." And she kissed him. It was a calm, warm kiss, full of affection, and for the first time without any fear. When they separated, Lucy whispered, "I think now I really feel happy." Ryan hugged her. "Me too." The cafe continued to fill up, life went on its course, and although they both knew the past had been intense, dangerous, and full of threats, they also knew it had all been worth it to get to this moment. Lucy had recovered her dream. Ryan had recovered his company, and together they had found something neither was looking for, but which was now the most important thing, a place where they could be themselves. A place where they could feel safe. A place to start a new story with more laughter, more coffee, and fewer